Hello friends, you are on the channel Quotes of Great Men. Enjoy watching. Shadow work is the path of the heart warrior. The attainment of wholeness requires one to stake one's whole being. Nothing less will do. There can be no easier conditions, no substitutes, no compromises. Our intellect has achieved the most tremendous things, but in the meantime our spiritual dwelling has fallen into disrepair. Even a happy life cannot be without a measure of darkness. We should not pretend to understand the world only by the intellect. The judgment of the intellect is only part of the truth. The greatest potential for growth and self-realization exists in the second half of life. Nature is not matter only. She is also a spirit. It is a fact that cannot be denied. The wickedness of others becomes our own wickedness because it kindles something evil in our own hearts. The creative process is a living thing, implanted, as it were, in the souls of men. Learn your theories as well as you can, but put them aside when you touch the miracle of the living soul. Sometimes you have to do something unforgivable just to be able to go on living. I do not believe, I know. Through pride we are ever deceiving ourselves. But deep down below the surface of the average conscience, a still, small voice says to us, something is out of tune. The artist is not a person endowed with free will who seeks his own ends, but one who allows it to realize its supreme purpose through him. The dream is the small hidden door in the deepest and most intimate sanctum of the soul. Synchronicity, a meaningful coincidence of two or more events where something other than the probability of chance is involved. Shrinking away from death is something unhealthy and abnormal which robs the second half of life of its purpose. Deeply listening to music opens up new avenues of research I'd never even dreamed of. I feel from now on music should be an essential part of every analysis. But if you have nothing at all to create, then perhaps you create yourself. Neurosis is the suffering of a soul which has not discovered its meaning. Dreams are the guiding words of the soul. Man cannot stand a meaningless life. The unconscious psyche believes in life after death. The mind has grown to its present state of consciousness as an acorn grows into an oak, or as saurians developed into mammals. Everyone can afford to give away a smile. The true leader is always led. The only thing we have to fear on this planet is man. Nothing worse could happen to one than to be completely understood. The greater the tension, the greater is the potential. The healthy man does not torture others. I would rather be whole than good. Mind and matter are two different aspects of one and the same thing. How can I be substantial if I do not cast a shadow? I must have a dark side also if I am to be whole. Whenever justice is uncertain and police spying and terror are at work, human beings fall into isolation, which, of course, is the aim and purpose of the dictator state, since it is based on the greatest possible accumulation of depotentiated social units. Masses are always breeding grounds of psychic epidemics. Our psyche is set up in accord with the structure of the universe, and what happens in the macrocosm likewise happens in the infinitesimal and most subjective reaches of the psyche. As a plant produces its flower, so the psyche creates its symbols. We all must do what Christ did. We must make our experiment. We must make mistakes. We must live out our own version of life. And there will be error. If you avoid error, you do not live. Intuition does not denote something contrary to reason, but something outside of the province of reason. But we must not forget that only a very few people are artists in life, that the art of life is the most distinguished and rarest of all the arts. An old man who cannot bid farewell to life appears as feeble and sickly as the young man who is unable to embrace it. When you walk with naked feet, how can you ever forget the earth? Like the sea itself, the unconscious yields an endless and self-replenishing abundance of creatures, a wealth beyond our fathoming. That which you do not bring to consciousness comes to you as your fate. That which you do bring to consciousness, whether it was what you thought you wanted or not, is your destiny. Nothing is possible without love. I don't believe there is a God. I know there is a God. If you feel betrayal in your soul, you are definitely a very good person if you have this feeling. Thanks for watching. Check out these educational videos too.